Hi everyone, so we're going to go ahead and dive right in for virtual unit preview number 5. And I'm really excited about this one because we're getting closer to the end of the year, which means we really get to really push our scholars to their full potential. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so scope and sequence. Just a quick overview, really fast. We're basically going to be touching on listing, captions, and invitations. And that'll kind of get them ready for first grade in their literary and informational text. So headings, bold features, why something's italicized, captions, all those sort of things. And then we're going to be talking about parts of speech, sequencing, and then, of course, revising drafts, adding details, the things we've already been doing, but just pushing a little bit more rigor on them as we move forward. So overview of the unit, we'll just talk about first what we should be still doing daily is writing sentences every day, of course, multiple sentences. Also identifying those errors within a sentence, writing sentences that you orally dictate to the scholars, including newly introduced sight words. And then also those bossy bully E words, those diagraph words, blends, all of those sort of things you should now be incorporating as well. And then writing sentences about a picture, a prompt, or a topic. So what are our scholars going to be able to take away by the end of the unit? They will be able to identify and create a list, identify and create an invitation, create a caption to a picture, put words in alphabetical order that's tested on their map, identify and use pronouns, use prepositional phrases, write 3 sentences on a given topic, once again using those prompts or pictures, put a story in chronological order, edit sentences by adding spaces and punctuations, and adding details. So creating sentences daily, this is something you all have already been doing. We have the upcoming CA3 where they will be having to write on a picture and also write about a specific topic. So they'll also have to find an error within a sentence. So all these things they should be doing on a daily basis just to make sure that they really understand why they're doing it and they're really comfortable with fixing and correcting those sentences. It should be like second nature by now. It should be something really quick, as an intro in the morning, a do now. We've talked about this before in our last unit preview. And just make sure that you're modeling this every day as well, whether it's during read aloud or whether it's during interactive or shared writing. And that basically is just where you all are coming up with stories together as a class. They're helping you create sentences. You're modeling how you find them on the word wall, sound out words, etc. So they did this on CA2, so you should definitely know your scholars that are struggling in this area and be able to support them in that way. And then also be pushing scholars that are really high in this area as well. So yeah. So for list, so we're going to take about 8 days, I believe is what I put on the unit at a glance for creating lists, identifying a list, and then moving into eventually an invitation. So first they should be able to identify a list, which is really simple for 5-year-olds. It's basically just a categorized area. And you can even do this by, I think a cool introduction to this would be like doing the game categories where you all kind of sit in a circle and go with a specific category just so they get a hang of it. And then that can be an authentic way that you say, and that is a list. And then eventually they'll be adding words to a list that you already have on a given topic, such as animals, maybe things in a house, things that they see in school, colors, etc. And then going from there, they should be able to create their own list. And then they should be able to categorize different lists, so choosing which words do and do not belong within a given topic, and then eventually moving to creating their own list. And then they will be moving to creating an invitation. So what that will look like is by the end of the unit, we want them to be able to create their own invitation. This is really fun for scholars. Mine really enjoyed it last year. And basically, you're just going chunk by chunk with them creating an invitation for their own birthday party, telling them what the date is, how to write it. Then they're going to first create a guest list. Then they can create a present list or vice versa. And then we want them also to do some sentences for their invitation, such as, I am so happy that you're coming, or I am so happy, and we should see all styles of punctuation used. So exclamation point after I'm so happy. Will you come to my party? Question mark. It will be at my house. Period. This is definitely a point where you can really see the scholars understanding how to use punctuation and putting it into action authentically. And like I said, this will kind of be like a class project. It'll be over a course throughout the lesson, but their end goal, creating and sharing invitations. And then something really cool that you could do to tie in back to this IB unit is just talking about seasons, going back into that. What season is your birthday in? What will your guests wear? Where would it be and why? To get them to really dig in and really push for that rigor for these invitations. So please, if you all have any questions about this, feel free to contact me because I think this went really well with my class last year, so I'm really excited to see how it goes this year as well. So captions, once again, this is authentically building into them reading non-fictional text. A caption is something that they're going to see, so making sure they're aware of what that is, how it looks, and that can be reading aloud to them and pointing that out. Googling some images that have captions, and then just Googling. I basically put that you guys should kind of create your own slideshow with pictures and have scholars on their whiteboard create captions for those pictures. Once again, like a game that they would really enjoy, and then talk about why they created. Make sure in everything that you do, you're asking your scholars why they, chose that idea, just to really get their ideas out there and getting them vocalizing, because naturally after they vocalize why they did something, will come the writing part as well, and that's building their stamina for that. So alphabetical order, this is where your picture dictionaries in your classroom will be a great resource, but also most of us have the alphabet around our room that scholars can reference or on their name tag on their desk. It's something they're tested on MAP, so you want to naturally start with just one letter and then build on that, turning into words. Really simple. Scholars do struggle with this, but it's just going to come with a lot of practice and repetition. So after you introduce it, once again, it could just become a quick do now. There's a lot of resources online, worksheets, and things that they can do to practice that. So pronouns and prepositional words, students will be able to write 3 sentences using prepositional words such as under, above, over, underneath, behind, between, and then identify pronouns in a sentence, he, her, she, they, words like that, and then also using pronouns in a sentence. Scholars will continue writing on picture prompts, and then you can authentically introduce pronouns with shared and interactive writing. And I also included some prompts to you guys in an email, a lot of writing prompts that scholars could use with a lot of pictures that have items on there where they could use above, below, between. And then I think using classmates as examples for pronouns is great, because scholars will kind of struggle with that in the beginning. And then with positional words, just having something that's really interactive, whether that's at recess or in your classroom, showing them a YouTube video, just to really get them to thoroughly understand what positional words are, because we do have some ELL learners that might struggle with this a bit. So once again, repetition. Sequencing. So this is something that we've touched on before, but moving forward, I told you guys about there will be on CA3, instead of pictures where they have to go in chronological order, there will only be sentences. So I have tried with my scholars where I get them to do a quick draw of what I say in the story, which helps them then when I read the sentences out of order see look back at their pictures and see what order they go in. So please, please, please try that method. It seems to work really great. The key idea there is just getting scholars to do a quick draw and not take too much time drawing those pictures. So they not only should be able to retell, but also create their own stories in sequential order. So, what do you do when you get ready in the morning? And then they should be able to say, first, I do this. Next, I do this. Last, I do this. Or, how do we get ready to go to recess? First, we do this. Next, we do this. Last, we do this. And once again, starting verbally and then trying to get them to get it on paper. And you could definitely start with pictures. To help not only them get their ideas down, but to help you understand what they're saying, to see if their inventive spelling is going along with what they're drawing or what their thought process is. And then just building on that throughout the week should really get them to the point that they need to be in. So editing sentences, adding details, that's all things that they'll be doing with their own writing. And definitely getting them to write about something that contains multiple steps, because once again, that's something they're going to be doing in first grade. They're going to be seeing that at the beginning of the year. So yeah. And then lastly, the writing journals. This is nothing new. Once again, I talked about this last unit. They should be using these. I just wanted to touch on it again, where you can now be incorporating those writing prompts that I emailed you guys to help them with their writing. It can be morning work. I have a lot of my scholars do it as morning work. If they didn't finish something throughout the week and it's close to the end of the week, I have them go back in their journals to finish and edit that. I also have them peer check, which they seem to really enjoy. And then sharing out. Actually, I had one of my scholars call another scholar a name, and I had them write a sorry letter in their journal, and it actually came out really great. So just incorporating those in any way that you can, I think, is awesome. And they really love doing it. Whenever they want to share something with me, I have them go put it in their journals and then bring it to me, and the excitement on their face from me reading and understanding what they were writing is just great. So just making sure y'all are incorporating that. It's also great because at this point now you can start with a writing prompt and authentically begin to go into a grammar, like I said, those pronoun or positional words lesson. So I think that's really great, and it is engaging for them. Also, if you all have any questions on that interactive writing piece or shared writing piece, please reach out to me. But it's really great to create stories with your class. So just let me know how that goes. And that pretty much wraps up this unit. You guys have my email. Please reach out. A couple of you have reached out with some things that you needed, such as those writing prompts, and I hope those help. Any great things that are working out in your class, please share those with me. Or any problems or humps that you're having that you can't really seem to get over, share those with me as well. And I would love to help, and I would love to hear y'all's ideas. So thank y'all, and see y'all soon.